Hi, it's me. Welcome to the stream. I'm still sort of trying to get a little bit set up here. I have a thing I need to get on my little board for character design that I'm looking at that I didn't put on beforehand, and it's in my face and it's here and it's real because I did it on the back of a paper bag, well, on the the front of a paper bag, but I don't have it uploaded. Anywho, let's get into it, shall we? This is a different type of stream for sure. Because I haven't done something like this before. Hang on. See if I can get the music going first and foremost. That'll be important to have in the background. Give it a second. Catch me if you can. We are born to dream. Nothing can be done. Gmail, I guess. That's on my Gmail. Send it to me via Gmail. Alright. Oh, okay. I have what's called Funky Jams Volume 5 Mega Mix. Looks like a bunch of songs from the late 90s and early 2000s video game music, maybe? Yeah, looks like that's what it looks like from here. See how the music goes. Oh, it's a little loud. Alright, turn that down a little bit. There we go. Alright. No, that's not the recipient. That's not who I'm sending this to. Alright. So, as you can see here, I have an image. I think it's gonna distract me for sure. And I can only turn it so far down on my end, specifically because I don't have my normal headphones on. But I have this here. This is my anatomy study sheet here that I've got, that I've been doing a little bit of. I've been taking it from this site called, if I turn that on, Firefox. There we go. Turn that on. There's the called a Sketch Daily reference site. It lets you see reference photos. You can do it full body parts, animal structures, vegetations, your own pictures. You can choose if you want what sex you want the person to be, what clothing, if you want them to be nude models or clothed. You can choose the pose, where you want the view to be. You can add time. You could just for a certain like speed sketches if you so desire. And we're gonna be looking through that in order to get a pose today. First of all, I have to download this photo that I've just sent myself because that is important to later on. Download that, put that in pictures. Yes. Yeah, that's where that goes. Pictures. Alright. But I have done this before. I have a few here. Though it was just like blocking out the various shapes here. Like, see this? Goddamn. The shape here, like the thighs and that, and sort of like that, it's still a little bit stiff. Like I trace over here, then I do that, and I redraw it for myself. That was one technique I was looking at in terms of like doing anatomy. This is for this guy who's in like kind of honestly looks kind of more like a caveman pose than anything. Another person I saw, hang on, I got their name here somewhere. Four Leaf Island is their YouTube channel. They make art stuff and have been doing some like art helping videos. One of them was saying that you should do, if you even can just like draw stick figures, then try drawing like more, try going for more, whatchamacallit, like taking the, oops, sorry, trying to get my shawl off. Try to do like just the pelvis and the chest area as like boxes in order to get like the 3D in there, just to like, because that's a thing that I struggle a lot with my art, is like making sure that it feels like it's 3D. You can probably tell from some of my pieces here. Even here it comes, like here in particular, hang on, let me get a better cursor. These two, this one in particular, this one as well, I traced 3D models in order to make them. But like when I do something like this, I don't have a 3D model, and it's a little bit hard to like figure out the third dimensions of the objects in them. That Kirby picture in particular, that one was a little bit hard for me to figure out, like the 3D of it all, like Kirby himself, the tree, the present. So like that's a thing that I really need to work on, as well as just getting the overall anatomy down, just like figuring how to do that. So I think I'm gonna try the box method once, and I'm going to try what I've been doing beforehand once. I already had this pose lined up before. This little lady here in a dress, in her fancy little dress. So we're gonna do that first. I need to make sure, what brush was I using? I was using my usual pencil brush. That's what I was using. And is it the jitter one? It is the jitter one, I think. Those are different colors. It's a little hard for me to tell a bit because I'm looking at my main monitor compared to the stream monitor. Okay. And then what color? We have green, purple. Okay, we have blue. Let's do a red. Let's do a red color. And I don't remember what size it was. I think probably 10. 10 seems about right. Yeah, it's about right. Okay. These are definitely some funky jams. They're kind of just like flowing together. That's interesting. Oh, they're actually like... Whoops. They're actually putting them into my Last FM Scrobbler. Oh well. That's fine. It's music. It counts. Let me... Oh, that's the wrong one. Haven't done art on the tablet in a while. Last time I did art on the tablet's been a couple of weeks, I want to say. See if I can... That's kind of the overall shape of the, that there. Lady's face. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember how I did the heads. I think I just did them, yeah, I just did them regular. Yeah, just mapping out, the shoulders, the, like, each, like, it, how do I describe this? Separating them by joints is really what we're going for here. That's what we're after here. That head's a little bit off. Let me try this way. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah, that looks nicer already. And then, like... And that's her shoulder. And then we have, this area, the elbow. And her hands come together in the middle. Then her other arm is back here. There's another shoulder. And basically what I'm trying to do by doing these anatomy studies before actually doing anything like character-wise is that I really do need to get better at just overall anatomy. Oh jeez. Okay, where is her? There's her butt, I think. I think that's her butt there. Yeah, that looks like her butt there. So I think, yeah, it's like about here-ish, and then her legs are down here. Yeah. I can see it within the fabric. The fabric there. That's helpful. And then it's like here. Yeah. And then she's standing up on her heels, because it's like, whatchamacallit. It's like she has heels on, but she doesn't for some reason. Yeah, that's good. Probably a little bit off. And then elbow there. And that's the overall shape of her. If we move this... Hello? Who's out there? Okay, so that's that. The biggest issue going into... I might have caught some of that little bit there and there. Going into sketching it in a larger scale is... Okay, that was a little bit too far away. Why is that one so far away? Move that closer. I think this image is a little bit bigger than the other one. That's why. That's probably why. Guess apply the transformation. Shush. Yeah, this image is a bit bigger. But going into the larger image, the problem I think I'm going to be having a lot with is the arm section. Like that area is a little bit of a fuzzy gray area. 15. Just kinda... Oh, I think I was at 20 when I did this actually. 20? That seems a little bit better. And then kinda like that. I made her a bit too big. I made her a bit too big. Make her smaller. Make me small again. In any case, I hope you're all having a nice Monday afternoon. The main reason I'm even here in the first place is because I don't have work today. My schedule is now that I work Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and it will soon be like 10:30 to 5:30. 5:30 in quotation marks because the store I work at closes at 5, and we like only take maybe... The angle on that's wrong. The angle on that's wrong. The angle on that is wrong. It's like this? Yeah, it's more like that. The store I work at closes typically... Gonna move my microphone a little bit. The store I work at typically closes at around 5, and that only really takes us maybe 10 minutes to close before I get to head home. So, you know, it's like this sort of kinda. What is this song? That sounds familiar. Oh, it's... Oh my god, it's Leighton Brothers Mystery Room. I was like, what is this song? Oh my god. Oh, that caught me off guard. Jesus Christ. Sorry. I didn't mean to sound so startled, but, back in early high school, I was really into, the mobile spin-off game Leighton Brothers Mystery Room from the Professor Layton series. So much so, in fact, that despite the fact that I knew that nobody was gonna know who I was, I cosplayed as the main detective character in the... Well, not the main detective character. The main detective guy character in that game. Because I really liked him. She's not standing quite right. I feel like I maybe messed this up a little bit. Probably. Good lord, it's been forever since I heard this song. It was a very different game in comparison to the original Layton series, and it's a very different game from the other spin-off, Lady Layton. Though both do revolve around Professor Layton's children, and I'm pretty sure all of his children are adopted, every single one of them. I do not know where this man keeps finding these children, but he just does. Too big. And all of them seem to have issues. Okay. Okay, yeah, her foot's a little bit more up. Yeah, it's been forever since I've heard this song. Definitely a good one for sure. And this one's sticking out a little bit, but still comes back. Oh, that foot's a bit off. Oh, that foot's weird. Oh, that foot's funky. Uh-oh, whoopsie daisies. Oh well. Yeah, that's just general trying to figure out how poses work. I'm gonna see if I can do this with the other method of having a box for the chest and the pelvis. Let's see here. Like, kind of like this, I guess. Yeah, cause oh, that's actually a little bit hard. Okay, it's more like this. Yeah, that goes back. So this kind of goes this way. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit funky. But then the other one is more like... That one has this going on. In comparison. And she's got kind of like... This is her spine. And her head. Again. That wasn't her pelvis. That wasn't her pelvis. That wasn't her pelvis. This is her pelvis. Yeah. This is very obviously her pelvis. Shoot, how do I describe this? Oh, this looks right. Like this maybe? Yeah. Kind of more like that. And then get a little bit of a box action going there. And then you can feel the rest of that going on. Whoops! Accidentally flipped it. And then her hand there. Kinda just like that, I guess. What does it look like when I take this out? Come on. Yeah, those are shapes. I'm gonna try another one. Let me make a new folder. Then. Alright. What was the opacity on this? 62%. Gotcha. Alright, let's get another image going. Let's look here. What do we got? That might be a bit hard for me. I can try it though. Paste. There it is. And then make that 62. This one's a little funky image. Make that a little bit smaller so I can actually do things with it. I'm still thrown off guard by the Professor Layton Brothers Mystery Room music that played. Yellowish? Yellowish. I think so that I can actually see it. Do a couple of these before moving on to character stuff. Alright. Like here. And then here. And we have the hand holding the gun, which I'm not doing a very good job of showing perspective on. And the other hand, the chest, and then the chin. Oh, nice song. It's a little hard for me to see where the legs start. That's gonna be a bit of an issue here. I think it's kind of like this. It's a little bit like this. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. And then the rest of the pelvis is here, I think? Yeah. And then she has these neat combat boots down here. And bunny combat boots. And kind of like this. Get the knee there. Show off the knee a little bit. Okay. That's pretty good as a starting point. Whoops. That's the wrong layer. Nope. There we go. It's probably a little bit difficult to see that. Change the color on that. Saturation maybe? Yeah, that'll work. Put her down here so I have a little bit more space. Hospital 6 doctors. Huh. Bring me back because I keep thinking about the stupid Layton's Mystery Room stupidness. I don't recommend that game if only because it hasn't aged particularly well, and it also came out in like 2000. What was it? I was into the game in 2014. I think it came out in 2012, 2013, and even then it was not great in some regards in terms of mental health, racial issues. a lot of things, really. And it was also by a Japanese developer in the early 2010s, so that kind of puts, whoop, that is not a color I can see. That kind of puts into perspective, like, who was developing it. If that helps at all. Do the chest first. And then gun is down here. Oh no, the gun. Where am I at? This is why we redraw it, because perspective is not my strong suit. That's the wrong way. This way. Yeah, more like this. Kind of. And the hands there, and the other hand's here, and then the arm comes back here. And then she's got... And then she's got the leg going on there. Other leg comes out this way. It's a little bit longer because of perspective. And it keeps coming down. I made that foot a bit too long. They like land the same area, sorta, kinda. Boy, this sure just looks bad on every single level. That's great. And that tells you how much I have to go in terms of artistic abilities. Wow, that's big. I didn't mean for that to be so big. Ugh. So it keeps giving me characters with props to them. I found another picture with a similar lady in a similar dress, but it's gonna be hard to decipher where the clothes are for me. Where the... Oh, this is a good one. Not a good one. Oh, you're not actually in the folder. That's so great. That's so great. I love that when you're not in the folder. Why even bother making a stupid folder if you're not gonna be in it? Alright. New photo. New photo. Away a little bit because it's a bit hard to see. Cut that out. Cut this out a little bit. Okay. Zoom in. Orangey time. Alright, is 10 gonna be big enough? Oh, it's a little hard to see actually. Make it bright orange then, like... That's the wrong color, you dingus. Maybe... Okay, that'll work. Game Builder Garage. Alright. Start with the head, neck. Kind of like that. Like that, kind of. And then... Well, I know exactly what this one is. Are these like all in the same... like the same tempo? They gotta be, right? Splat, sploot. Split, splat, and splootin'. Speaking of Splatoon, I did play the recent Splatfest. I can't tell what's happening with the knee here. Huh. I did play the recent Splatfest. I have not played the game since the Splatfest. I do know that White Chocolate won again, which is so cool, dude. Played Milk Chocolate twice and did not win either time, so that's great. Can I see it? No. I can see it. So, kind of more of a wider pose. That's the wrong thing! I keep accidentally, I need to put this here so I don't keep thinking it's that particular one. Alright, here we go. Alright, the head. The neck. The chest is very out there, as is the pelvis. And then it's kind of... perspective makes it look very teeny tiny in the background. Well, all of the weight is on this one leg. That's too big. That's too big. That's the problem. That's too big. Nope. Like this, kind of. And then grab this. Okay. Draw that out instead. Make sure that it's looking okay. And then the arms. The arm starts here and kind of reaches out. Similarly, back here it reaches out. Oh, no. Oy. Yeah, that don't look right. Anatomy's hard. Oh, that was Scratch and Melody that last one was. Huh. Oh lord, there's Honkai Star Rail in this. Ugh. It's fine, it's whatever. Cherry limeade water. Delicious. I should probably try the other method before I move on to other stuff. See if I can get the boxes going. It's kind of like, it's still a little hard to see. Let me do it here. Nope. Alright, we're doing gray. Yeesh, I cannot see that. Alright, blue it is then. So it kind of looks like this a little bit. From what I'm seeing here. And the pelvis is kind of like... I don't know, man. That don't look right. That don't look right. Like, I don't know. Yes, apply transformation. Correction layer. Saturation. Make it brighter. Like, this isn't an overnight thing, but I want it to be. Because I'm very impatient about everything. Oh. I might as well get into what I actually wanted to do this stream for. Even though I probably shouldn't be doing it. Because that's kind of like, you know, a taboo thing to do. But, the reason I started with anatomy studies is because I really don't know how to do anatomy. I really don't. I don't know how to do anatomy, dude. I gotta make sure I get the knees in there and the fact that the feet are separate. Yeah. But yeah, the reason I wanted to do this stream is because, if you couldn't tell from all this here, I'm planning on redoing my vtuber model. Commissioning someone to make me a new one and design a new design. Making a new design for it because, I honestly just, my model that I've been using for a while, I've been using it for a while. I've had it, oh jeez, how long have I had it for actually? We can check that right now, actually. I can check it myself. I want to say it's maybe been 3 years now since I've had that particular model, but I've had the particular design for my persona, oh god, since like 2021 maybe? Take a look at all my streams. When did I first start using the vampire bat model? The original one. I started making it around 4 years ago, it says. Halloween. that's 2020. Okay, so I started using the design itself back in October of 2020. Just about. Wow, that is a little bit terrifying. Just a little bit terrifying. So I've been long overdue for a new design at this point. But what I wanted to do was keep it sort of similar to, how, let me put in the other image. What is this? I don't know what this is. Whoopsie daisies. Scale and rotate, please. I don't want to cover up anything. Move this down here then. Move it further down. Yeah, there we go. That works. But what I wanted to do was basically I wanted to do a design that is partially similar to how I wanted my original concept to be, in that vampire, but got stuck in between bat and human form. And with that, originally I didn't want it to look too freaky, which is why it still looks relatively humanoid. From my reference art that you can see here, where I look more, more or less like just a furry, I guess. Just a slight furry. Sorry, I'm very stuffy today. In particular, my apologies. But I wanted to take the stuff that I already have going on here, like the webbed fingers and like the ears in the face and the little paw feetsies, and like make them into something else, similar to, I have this VTuber model design. That's me, by the way. I have this not VTuber, VR chat model design that I hodgepodge together with various MMD models, including this one here, which I have censored a bit because it has actual nipples on it. And I can't show that on television. I will get banned if I show that on television. Stop that. What? Kick It Cruisin'. Funk Fiction and T. Lopez remix. I don't know this version of KK Slide, or KK Cruisin'. Love that song. But I took inspiration from this one, which I made into this. I have a couple different outfits on this particular VR chat model. I used it a couple of times. I haven't really used it since, really. But tried to look for vampire, bat-looking OCs that people have, furry OCs, on actualfuraffinity.com. These two here, the artists are in fact on there as well. To credit them. There's this one in particular I like because of the fact that with bats' anatomy, the fact of the matter, when you look at actual bats, is that little belly, is that their wings are in fact their hands, where they would be their hands. So like, see these little curves here? Those are their fingers. Those are all of their fingers, and these are their thumbs. And then like the rest of the back of the wings here is all their their arms. And look at another one here. Vampire bats are kind of freaks. They're a little bit freaky. Like, they're walking here on their little thumbs and toes here. like, I find, like, bat anatomy fascinating in that regard. And so it's weird when I see, like, bats that have, like, when you have like a bird OC and their hands aren't the wings, but instead like a separate set of wings on the back. That's just, it looks a little bit off to me. So I want to try to make something like that, but I don't know how to make draw an actual bat. I'm not very good at that. So I've been kind of struggling a little bit. I haven't been struggling super hard with like the actual design itself, other than what my main idea is that I've settled on is pretty much I'm going to have similarity to how my low poly 3D model works. 2 regular normal fingers pretty much, so they will probably be slightly elongated. And then the wings will have these here to represent the other fingers, as well as the thumb up here, and then there's gonna be the rest of my body here. I'm trying to figure out the proportions on this whole thing because my own proportions are particularly long. Part of me wants to make it chibi. I don't know if I really want to do that though. Here's some other concepts I've been looking at. Yeah, I drew these ones also. They're on paper bags because I drew these at work. Because sometimes I get bored at work. So I drew these at work because I keep thinking about this. The wind is howling and it makes me scared. You probably can't hear it too much, but it's very loud. It's very powerful outside today. Yeah, trying to figure out how I want to draw the wing specifically to make it easier for whoever I end up commissioning to model this, because I know this is going to be difficult to model in the way that I would want it to be modeled, but I don't know enough about 3D modeling myself, and I do not care to learn enough about 3D modeling myself to make it myself, because doing a VTuber model is very complicated, and I don't want to put that much work and effort into it. I will pay $1,000 for someone else to put that work into it. I will not do that myself. Apologies, I will not do that myself. Yeah, the idea was that I, instead of the shirt and the vest and pants combo I got going on here, I instead am wearing originally it was just going to be a poncho type of shirt, poncho dress type of thing, but then I decided I'll probably like make it so that there's like a swimsuit type of thing, swimsuit bodysuit type of thing underneath that as well, but no other clothes besides that, and my glasses of course. I also wanted to reflect how my hair, I've been wearing my hair a lot more in ponytails recently, primarily because of my job, but also just in general I wear my hair in ponytails, I guess, but I wear my hair in a ponytail in the back for my job, and I feel like that might be better in terms of I guess a readable design. And like I don't know anything about I don't know the first thing about design. Like literally look at my graphics here. Like look at this. I don't know how to do graphic design. I don't know how to do that. I'm BSing it as I go. I've had the same layout for like years now, and I want to continue having sort of a similar layout, but like I don't know. Oh, actually I could. I was thinking like maybe doing like maybe stripes for the poncho, but it's based off of this actual poncho that I own. This is from my senior prom, nearly 8 years ago. I still own this poncho. I wore it to my cousin's wedding last month. It's a very nice little shirt. I don't think it looks very good on me per se, but that's because I'm fat and I have low self-esteem. But I also wanted to make sure that I incorporated earrings this time around as well. So, including, because I got my ears pierced, so I was like, oh, let's include, like, earrings. I haven't actually worn hoop earrings yet. I really want to, but, like, I gotta wait 6 months to really start wearing the fun earrings. But I like this sketch I did of the head here. I think I'm gonna run with that one, roll with that, and then this is just like me trying to figure out how I could chibify it, or maybe like make it slightly less realistic, more cartoony. Because the majority of people I'm looking at commissioning do more so cartoony type of styles. But I like the idea of me having earrings with my logo in it. My little T thing. I originally came up with the T thing like years and years ago. Years and years ago. Oops, that's not quite right. As a way to just like have a simple way to do a logo. I also have this one for my birth name, and this one for how I currently spell my name. But this was originally when I was going by Suki with spelling T-S-U-K-K-I, but then it became another way to just, it kind of looks like both the T and the O together, so now I've just been doing kind of this as a signature sometimes. Because I think that's neat. But yeah, I'm trying to, there's this here, because I'm trying to, I like download a whole pack of fonts to try to figure out some sort of logo sort of situation that was not this, because this is not a great logo. I know it's not a great logo. It's not very good graphic design wise, but I've never taken a graphic design class in my entire life. So I don't know how to do that. This is also me tracing my own face, because I'm trying to figure out my own face. You stare at a thing for 26 years and then you still don't know, like, how to draw it. I also had to increase the canvas size because I didn't realize how big this is gonna get. But yeah, I have a bunch of different concept designs here that I want to eventually make into something. So I guess I'll just, like, start... Like, so far I've just been kind of going with, like, short proportions to make it easier, I guess, as a design standpoint. Like, the emphasis is on my wings and the poncho itself. But at the same time, I feel like that's wrong, like, cause I'm tall. Contrary to popular belief, I'm tall. Who's popular belief? I don't know. But I'm a tall person, in that I am 5'7", 8-ish. Introducing the new flavor! Cutting hair has never been this easy. Or something like that. Okay, baby, let's go. We're gonna do it like this. Go. Snip, snip. Snip, snip. I've never played Parappa. I just like the songs. Parappa's apparently very hard. There's also multiple eye sketches because that's what I do for warm-ups, typically, is eye sketches. But I should probably make like another file. Get started on a different one. I want it this way. I also wasn't quite sure like the type of blue I wanted to go for. Like, there's a very particular type of blue that I like. Like, it's very... It's like, I don't know. No, that's definitely the wrong color. I think this is the good color, maybe. I don't know. Like, it's very... How do I describe the blue? It's like sky blue, but like it's also kind of like blue-green. But it's like, to me, it's like, this is what the color of the sky should be. Or like the color of the ocean should be. That's the kind of color that I really love. That's why it's such a prominent color in my original design alongside, you know, the black and the tan. The black and the tan being that I have black hair and tan skin. Even though it doesn't really look like it in this photo because I'm pasty as heck. Every day I stray further away from God. And that I am incredibly pale. And I feel bad about that. But yeah, I want to try something like that. Let me take the head here, because I want to make sure that I have that in the background as a... How big is this canvas? Big. No. That's not what I wanted! Dingus. Cut the cut. Snip the snip. Cut the cut. Snip the snip. Cut the snip. Trade the cut. Cut the snip. Snip the cut. Trim the die. Die the snip. Snip the die. Die the snip. Cut the shave. Shave the cut. Why won't you paste? Because I'm on the wrong layer. That's why. That's why it won't do it. Hello? Whoa. Oh, there it is. I was like, where did it go? Gonna have to change the colors on this as well because it's very hard to see. Correction layer. Saturation, luminosity maybe? Oh yeah, there we go, baby. Luminosity. I kind of like how that, yeah, I like how that head looks. I like the big ears and the earrings and the ponytail coming from the back. It can stay mostly in the back. It doesn't need to be like over my shoulder. We're not trying to be like a anime mom that dies in the first 5 minutes of the show. I am thinking about getting a haircut soon, but I do kind of want to keep this design going despite the fact that I may be getting a haircut based solely on the fact that I want to do a cosplay at some point. And I have, like, pretty good hair for that. In general, my hair is more wavy rather than curly, but when I was younger, when I had bangs, there would always be, like, really, really curly bangs on top of my head, and not really down in front of my forehead. So I figured I could probably use that to my advantage and cosplay as, Okurun from, Dan Da Dan. Because I got into that show while it was still airing this past fall, and I can't wait for summer. Where was I at? Head? Yeah, no, looking at my hair. In general, my hair, when I take good care of it, it gets, like, a little bit poofy frizzy, sorta kinda, but, like, for the most part it's just, like, wavy a little bit. Not quite stringy, but, like, trying to look at myself right now, actually. I mean, it's a little bit stringy. It's just mostly, like, it's primarily wavy is my hair. Like, I don't really know how to draw my own hair very well. I'm not very, I should learn how to draw, black hairstyles a bit better, in general. My hairstyle shouldn't even count as a black hairstyle, honestly. I say self-deprecatingly, again. But it does, technically. By all accounts, it is one. Just different than most black folks because my hair is a bit, thinner. Thinner? Oh shoot, it's Knuckles! Smog City Sewer Spark the Electric Jester Kick the Rock SA2 Medley. What? Echodonas, what we're presenting. Yeah, in terms of anatomy, I guess, I don't know. Let me shrink this a little bit so it's not so large sitting here. Shut up, I'm on the wrong layer. One of these days I am going to play Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 on stream. All my experience of Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 has been seeing other people who are very nostalgic for those two games play them, and I don't really get the hype over it, but I'm someone who's nostalgic for Sonic Heroes, so... Excuse me, I choked on my water because I was laughing to myself. And that game's really bad. In terms of, like, being really glitchy and corny. So, like, trying to figure out, like, my own bodily proportions. I'm a little bit square in shape in general. This is incredibly bright. I made this a little too bright. That's unfortunate. Anyways. Oh, nope, that's the wrong layer. It's on the wrong layer. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun, actually. That was a nice segue to when Mother was here from Persona 5. That's a game I will not stream because it's 400 hours long! And I only ever stream for 2 hours at a time. Maybe one day I'll take my streams to 3 hours long. Who knows? Today is not that day. But yeah, if I were to draw out myself as a human, just a regular old goober, like, I'm somewhat broad-shouldered, and I have an overall just like rectangular shape to me. So, like, I want to make sure that I have like my good proportions, that like that I have my body shape being similar to my actual body shape. I'm overweight. That's why my character is overweight. I don't want to be disingenuous to myself in that, like, saying that I'm thin. 'Cause I'm not. I have not been. I don't think I've ever really been underweight. But I was probably average weight as a kid, but, towards middle school probably, when my anxiety started to ramp up, I think is when my weight started to gain more. So I've pretty much always just been, overweight and out of shape for a long time. So that's something that's just a fact in my life that I want to incorporate into that, and not just make you know, like with the original design, I don't want to make just like generic anime person. That's not what I'm about. That doesn't make me stand out. It doesn't feel like it's me. That's just the way it is. I don't know. I guess probably just starting off with this is probably good. Just a regular human shape. Just a regular human shape. It is slightly tilted. I hate how whenever I draw it's always slightly tilted. I can never not do that. I don't know why that's the case. Is that okay? Yeah, that looks normal now. Actually, does that look normal? Yeah, that face actually looks normal, mostly for once. The little, the cheek over here is a little bit funky, but I'm not always great with face proportions either. Yeah, I think something like this is probably what I'm gonna go with. And don't worry about how the glasses stand up. Don't ever worry about how the glasses work. I don't know. You ask me questions to things I don't know about. I do have some Snapple Apple here with me as well, but I've just been drinking some regular water from the faucet, as well as, well, filtered for the faucet. We have well water, as well as just I had some cherry limeade water earlier the stream. So I guess shoot. So like, this is the head. I might make the head a little bit bigger, just so that, like, in general, that's how people seem to do proportions on, like, comic-y like characters. Yeah, that's probably fine. It's a little bit bigger, but I think that actually works a bit. This is fine in terms of a person's shape, I guess. Make this a little bit smaller so I can figure out the wing situation. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out the wing situation for a while now. Sounds like a WarioWare. It's not a WarioWare. Why do I think it was a WarioWare? Huh. Anywho, the arms, the bat's body, like, these legs are really tiny. That's part of the problem with the fact that I want to make the legs a bit longer with my own persona. Maybe if I, like, make the feet smaller? don't know. Let me look at these furries up here. See if they'll help me at all. I mean, they have like regular body proportions, it looks like. One of them has like hand feet. But vampire bats themselves, from what I've seen, don't really quite have hand feet. Their feet still somewhat resemble like other mammal feet. And like they do have that little back one there. That little back hook there. I honestly have been trying to have a hard time like finding out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, so they do have... Okay, it does look like that they have 5 toes and then this extra little thing in the back to hook onto things. Fascinating. I don't understand why this person is holding this bat like this. I just found this picture like, oh, that's pudgy. Oh, that's a big old shape. That's a belly, alright. Yeah, vampire bat faces are also pretty messed up looking. They're pretty goofy. Pretty goofy little creatures. Look at these friends. Look at these guys. That's gonna drink your cow's blood tonight. Watch out! They also looked at a couple, these two I think were from DeviantArt, maybe? I don't know. I thought these ones looked cute. These are some cute ones. Cute faces here, I like the faces for sure. Various different bat faces. This one's the vampire bat, obviously. Oops. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the wings are very large. But, like... holding up my hands, holding up my arms here, it doesn't seem like the bat's wings are actually as large as I'm making them out to be. Maybe I should have made it smaller then. Oh, I like this one. What's this one? Oh, it's another mashup. Credits NBA in the Zone 99 and end of game NBA in the Zone 98. Growing up as a kid, I didn't actually listen to a lot of rap and hip-hop from like the 90s per se. I did listen to some R&B like from the early 2000s, though. Like I know some... Nowadays I know some because I've been listening to some of them more often, but I didn't really have those as much as a kid. I'm gonna make this a different layer because I'm a little bit concerned. Electric boogaloo. Alright. Like... I'm trying to figure out how the wings work. I guess it is just like when they're on the ground like that, it's just like when you're crawling around. They're kind of just up. Shoulders are just kind of up. Wild. It seems primarily that people tend to... This person didn't put any of the webbing on the shoulders, but this person did. Fascinating. And like, generally speaking, you don't put the webbing on the shoulders. I don't think it is on the shoulders, even. I know it might be. It's a little hard to tell there. Might not be. Yeah, the big thing about the wings is that we have the regular arm, but then we have where the wing actually starts. wrist. Like, here's the wrist. That's the wrist there. So if I'm going, like, here I am, here's my arm, here's my regular human arm, and then we have the freaky hands. So I think something along these lines is the wrong way to do the thumb. Yeah, something like this, maybe. It's a little messed up. Those aren't right proportions at all. And then the rest of the hand is like this. So then the rest of the fingers kind of go out like that. But I don't know how to make that look good in a cartoony setting of sorts. How do I make that look good for cartoons? Gonna make this smaller. Like here. Yeah. And then it'd be kind of like this sort of deal. Yeah. Yeah, like this. This is good. Maybe make this a little bit shorter of a forearm. Which means moving this a little bit back. Pre-transform. Yeah, kind of more. Okay. Maybe kind of like. Make sure that the hands still look okay. Is that more the thumb? And then. No, thumb's here. Thumb's here. That's the thumb. That's the thumb. Then this is the rest of the hand. And then like that, kinda. And the rest of the hand kind of goes out like that. Alien looking freak. Alien looking freak. Portions. The portions are what's messing with me. And also I don't know if I want that to go up or if I want that to go down. Up would at least make the silhouette look a little bit nicer. And there's a little tail in the back. This is a nice song. What's this song? Mini Copter Adventure Flight in the Office. I'm mostly just working on the one arm because I feel like that'd probably be a better way to get the idea across. The general shape here of the head. Did I make it chippier? Did I make this even bigger, perhaps? That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Put that on top of that. Transfer to lower layer. Okay, cool. Wait, I shouldn't have done that. Okay. bigger? How does that look? You know what? I don't hate this. I don't hate it. The arms still feel a little bit too long, though. Yeah, thanks, man. Are you sure there's nothing to transform? Oh no, I transferred the entire thing! That's not what I meant to do! God dang it. I just wanted to transfer this one portion. Why? There. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay, so now this is still on a separate layer. Cool, 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 cool. How do I make this look nicer? Oh. Okay, hang on. We're getting into some freak territory, watch out. Okay. Okay, no, that doesn't look bad. Here's the thing, that doesn't look bad. I think this could work. This could actually be okay, is the thing. To change this around a little bit, though. Maybe like this a little bit? And then... Whoops. Wrong size. Yeah, part of the problem is that these are in fact fingers, so I gotta keep that in mind. Sorry, is this Splatoon? Excuse you, this is the Grand Festival? I don't remember this from the Grand Festival at all. You're lying to me. Wild. This can't have been the Grand Festival. I did not hear this music in the Grand Festival at all. They're lying to me. Lying liars who lie. Yeah, I like what I'm doing here. I like this. I like what's going on here. I still gotta figure out how to make sure that the fingers don't look weird on the wing. But like, if I do like something like this. No, hang on. Put that on a new layer. Put this on a new layer. Suddenly Musha. These cars on train don't mean a thing. What's your brain? Pain is my game. Right off the way. Streets. Don't pain is pain. It's just sad. It's not as easy as you say. Another phrase again. When I say boom, 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 you say bam, bam, bam. No pause in between. Come on, let's jam. How do I make sure that this... Okay. Now kind of like that. And it like connects as well in the back. Like here-ish is where it would connect in the back. Indicate that that's in the back. With a... Whoa! Don't do that. I pressed one of the buttons on my tablet when it did that. Indicate that's in the back. If I drawing it with this. Leading lines here, that those are in the back of there. Okay. What was the last color we used in this one? I'm not complaining. Don't forget the rhythm, rules, and keep mining. Just get wild like in. Up the ramp we go all the way. Up the ramp we go all the way. Come on, fool, I ain't got all day. Come on, fool, I ain't got all day. Whew, tired, let's take a break. Whew, you're tired, please take a break. Come on, please, for all time's sake. Come on, please, for all time's sake. I don't want to make it too boob-like, or else I will get demonetized or something. I don't know. I'm not affiliate. I gotta flip it. Just to make sure that things are lining up correctly. All the big ears. Make sure that I have the big ears. Make sure that they're round. I actually wanted them to be round this time. They weren't quite as round originally. We're gonna make them more, a little bit more mouse-like this time around. And I still haven't quite figured out the physicality on the earrings. I gotta think about this in actual 3D space because I'm going to commission a 3D model because at this point I refuse to be a 2D VTuber if I can help it. Kind of making myself look more buff than that, but I've never been particularly good at drawing fat people. I've never claimed to be particularly good at drawing fat people, and to be honest, I don't have much of a punch. Most of my fat goes towards my sides, and kind of my thighs, and my boobs. Don't cut her off like that. Excuse you, don't cut her off like that. That's Sergeant Musha. She knows how to double dutch. And skate and rock climb. She's cool. Yeah, I don't know how to do the feet. Like in these ones, they just kind of look skeletal. Which is... Oh, that's crazy. I don't know if I like that. Oh, I don't know if I like that. I'm probably gonna make the feet real long. Or at the very least, the nails real long. Let me increase the canvas size. Canvas size. Make the height 3,000. That was 30,000. I may, in fact, not be particularly smart. No. God damn it. Reset. Okay, and then makes this, I don't know. No, do it like that. Yeah, that's good. And then grab all these and move them a little bit so I have a little bit more room. This music is making me think Danganronpa, which is crazy to think about. I've been thinking a lot about Danganronpa lately, and I hate that. Well, that kind of looks like I accidentally put the belly button there. It wasn't on purpose, it just kind of happened. I don't have a pelvis. You know what, I forgot to give myself a pelvis. Kinda need that on a person. That's where they pee from. There we go, kinda like here-ish, I guess. I don't know. Like there. Yeah, that works. And then the feet. There is in fact like that. That's part of the bat, but I don't know if I want that. I probably should have it. Let me draw like just a regular foot first, but like elongate the toe. Oh no, this looks bad. Oh no, that looks bad actually. Oh no. 90s kid. As much as I enjoy like the funk beats, I was never actually a 90s kid. Never grew up with all those 90s cartoons until later on in life. I'm gonna make the feetsies smaller then. They're gonna be small little guys. Yeah, like kind of like these. Yeah. And then, yeah. Small feetsies with little sharp little things there. And then but that's not enough toes. It's not enough funny toes. I'm always bad about making sure that there's enough funny toes. And then the heel has like an extra secret toe. So you get 6 of them. Heel has an extra secret 6th toe. Only available after you've beaten the boss. How do people do character design? How do people do this for a living? They go to school for it. That's part of it. They actually go to school for it, unlike myself, in which I never went to school for anything. That's a lie. I went to school for music production. I didn't go to school for art. I should have probably, but when I decided to go to school, I was like very much so deep into making my own songs, and I was in choir. I had been in choir since 6th grade, and I was trying my best making my own music, and lately I've just been doing a lot more drawing lately. What is this? It sounds familiar. Oh, it's Mario Kart 8. I was like, wait a minute, that instrument sounds familiar. It's Mario Kart 8 music. I feel like this is a pretty good bass. It ain't too bad. It ain't too shabby. I could probably do something with this. But now I'm gonna make it smaller. At the very least, copy and paste it. Well, I gotta somehow figure out the poncho situation as well. Both the under layer where I have the quote-unquote, swimsuit looking thing that I have an idea for. Like, I also don't have a color palette yet. And I don't know what design I'm going to do for the poncho on top of it. When I commission them, I will probably just say, when you do the poncho, please just, like, slap on this pattern on it instead of, like, putting too much work into it, because, like, I feel like that might be easier, but I don't really have, like, an idea for the pattern as of yet. Jet Set Radio. Funky Radio. Yeah, it's probably gonna be... My instinct is to make it black, but I also don't know how I want to do the colors on like, sort of like this, kinda? Like, around the shoulders. And make sure there's enough room here. So, like, it comes... The boobs are secure in here. So the boobs are in here. They're secure in here, though. And then move the rest onto here, and then have it just kind of lift up into the butt a little bit. Kind of like that. Because the tail has to poke out at some place in there. So, like, the wings come in from the side. Or, I guess it would be... Oh, shoot! Sorry, I have to go back to that. That was the... When you lose from, Splatoon 3 in the Grand Festival on Team, Present. Against Team Present. I heard that one a lot. The rest of them, tougher than leather. You can call me Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles. I'm hard as nails. It ain't hard to tell. I break them down whether they solid or frail. Independence is my first test. First class in the life and the worst class. Born on an island. Here's the heavens, the blood of my ancestors flows inside me. Oh, yeah. Blend yourself with that evil spirit that's in you. Hope you like not all the pain and turmoil. Just believe in myself, won't rely on others. Kind of messed with the boobs a little bit there. Oh well. This is my planet, I will not surrender. Oh, I did that completely wrong. Oh well. Not sounds, it instincts. All the elements that keep me going. You take that blue from that one to just like get the overall shape of the poncho. That's a little too gray. Make it a little bit brighter. So it kind of comes on here. It kind of goes up till a little bit up here, and then it like drops off here to cover. Trying to figure out cover the. If the other arm is like around here, then it's like gonna cover up the majority of the actual potential swimsuit type of deal thing going on here. Cover that up a bit. So I guess the swimsuit part would kind of like be the thing that would hold it up. And all the pain and turmoil. In that case, I kind of want to make like little like dealies here, like little pins here. How do I draw a bobby pin? Kind of like this, I guess. Kind of like that. Like bobby pins there that hold up the rest of it, and like a couple in the back maybe. Well, I don't have to be in the back so that I can have actually room to like move my arms around. Actually, would that work? Yeah, probably. Though I'd probably be futzing around if this was real. I'd probably be futzing around with my poncho a lot. There's my water. There's my water. There's my water. Part of me kind of like want to add some kind of accessory to. I should make note of that. I should make note of the bobby pin situation. Hang on. That's bright. That is bright white. Ooh, we'll make that less white. No, do that. Okay. Alright. I don't want to accidentally like touch that layer part. Okay. Right on. Bobby pins on. This one's another Distraction Melody song. It's the tennis one. On swimsuit. Hold up. Poncho. Yeah, bonjo. Yeah, bonjo. That's what that is. A bondo. A pondo. That's a bit hard to see from far away. Oh well. Let me grab this and put it on another layer so that's a bit... Nope. That's a bit easier on me. Okay. cut and paste. And then move that and put this over here. Make it a little bit clearer too, so that's not invasive. Poncho. Yeah, part of me kind of wants to put like some sort of like anklet on here because I'm not giving myself shoes. I don't feel like I should be wearing shoes. Maybe something similar to socks, but not quite. Maybe leg warmers. That'd be funny though. I kind of like that idea actually. I thought about like potentially having socks. Oh, and then Karate Funk for Rapper the Rapper too. I mean, this doesn't really sound like it. I don't know this song. This does not sound like a Rapper 2 song at all. Yeah, that is a good idea, me. A little leg warmer. Oh, that's too dark. Also a little bit too thin. No. Not quite the right color either. Like, I don't know, leg warmers, perhaps? Not quite, like, on top of them, but, like in general, I wear, knee-high socks. I've been wearing a lot of striped knee-high socks lately. That might be fun. Yeah. Yeah. There's no reason for leg warmers. They're just here to have fun. But yeah, I want to be like, I think if I were to do that, it would be like, blue. Thinner pencil, dingus! Blue. And white? But would that also be... Will that also translate to... Maybe. I'm pretty sure I've seen like designs like that though, unfortunately. Maybe... matching patterns? Matching patterns is probably good. Matching... patterns. This song sounds familiar, but I don't know it off the top of my head. And then I'm still trying to figure out the situation of how do I do the earrings. I think what I want to do is like this. They're like danglies and not quite hoops. Because doing it like this is a little bit like too cluttered. Whoa! Don't do that. Stop doing that. Where are we at? You can go on the top layer, that's fine. Like, doing this... Whoops. Doing this feels a bit cluttered is all. I don't know. Like... trying to figure the logistics of it. It could work. It looks wrong. It looks wrong. It looks wrong. I don't like it. Making a dangly. As much as that looks cute in a way, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I could do like this and then put the symbol in there, but then it's like, then it's not quite the symbol, you know? I like how it looks there, but not here when I'm making the little thumbnail. I'm doing just a little thing here. And then of course my eyes, which are actually a little bit different from before. I made them a little bit more rounder this time around instead of like simply, like instead of it being more like this, they're more like this, I guess. I don't know. Instead of it being like that with that on top, it's more like this with that on top. Like that's how I think I want to do the eyes for myself. And it's always going to be a sleepy look because I'm constantly tired because my allergies prevent me from taking in enough breath. My depression doesn't help either. I'm kind of like sort of the one eyelash going out is sort of like the deal here, as well as like slits for eyes. And that's a big thing going on there. They're not necessarily going to be like, they're not going to be like, I'm not gonna have eyeshadow on. Like the lips here, that's just because I have lips. That's just me and my lips. There's nothing really special about that. Although I have thought about like putting the fangs back in. Probably put the fangs back in. Yeah, now that's looking more like me. Make sure the fangs are in there. I do got a little bit of a cupid bow though, so I should probably make sure that that's included in the... I don't know. It might be a little bit hard to... No, it can work. I'm in the house! That's right! Here it comes! Extra, read all about it. Goes down all around. People come around line, come get it. Line goes around like a merry-go-round. Cut! Heat. Toast. Cook. And I'm trying to make sure that the eyebrows are like sort of similar to my actual eyebrows. My eyebrows aren't, they're a little thick, but they're not that thick. As you can sort of see here, they're not that thick. They're pretty plain actually. And oftentimes my my glasses might sometimes cover them up. My preferred way of doing a selfie is typically just to stare directly at the camera with no expression on my face because I find it slightly funny and also because I think it's a little bit more attractive. That's just me though. You can take that as you will. You know what I didn't put down? I didn't put my stupid eye bags under my eyes. Does that color design a little bit? It makes me look older. Makes me look a little bit older. You'll need to put that in there, I guess, then. It'll probably make the mouth larger still. Make sure that the mouth is large enough. But yeah, the main issue that I've been trying to figure out here is like how exactly I want the hair to be like pulled back. I tend to make sure that's behind my ears. Like all my hair is behind my ears when I pull it back. But these are very large ears in this particular design, so I don't know. I also make sure to keep the cowlick here, the hehe. That's my Danganronpa origins. The stupid cowlick that every single protagonist has. I kinda drew it here like as sort of a general do. Okay, this is a Kirby song? Oh no, this is a Earthbound song. Earthbound. Yeah, make sure that... That's probably good, right? Woo! Thank you so much for the follow, I greatly appreciate it. Hello. I'm actually getting close to when I would usually end stream. I don't have the face there, so it's a little hard to tell where the... Yeah, I guess, kinda. These are pretty good in terms of concept sketches, I think. Like, we're getting there. Like, we're definitely getting there, and like, I need to make sure that I have both this, and then also we have the actual nail. So like... My fingers aren't actually that fat. I think I'm making them a little bit fatter because it's like a cartoony sort of character design going on here, but like my fingers themselves, not that fat. I have relatively average thickness and fingers. They're pretty bland. Yeah, that, and then at the tips here as well are definitely gonna have the fingernails. I feel like that's probably good in terms of making sure that that's all covered. Where's the rest of the body? Where's the rest of the body? Out there on that layer. So I'd have... Oops, that's the wrong color. Do it closer to the actual color. Like the rest of the body would be... It's a little hard because of the whole fact that there's wings here. I'm gonna have to figure out how those work underneath, but... that probably just like connects in the back there somewhere. And no, that's not where that connects. It connects in the back, like I said. And they kind of like fold up, maybe? That would be hard to do in 3D. I'm not gonna request that they do that. That's hard to do in 3D. I'm not gonna request that at all. I think this is pretty good, though, in terms of the first, like, sketch. I think I kind of like this design. The leg warmers might change. They might go, they might stay. Should I stay or should I go? I don't know if I'm gonna keep them or not. I like the idea of them. I don't know if I like the necessarily execution. Doing it like this makes me look like an 80s dancer, like a robofist. Oh, that's a weird angle to go with. But I kind of like it. It's what, like, the only really sort of outfit that would really work, I guess. It's going like, sort of something similar to like I guess these would be kind of more like coveralls in a way. And then underneath, and then on top of that is that. And what layer did I put this on? What layer are those on? What? Oh, there they are. Like, different variations of the outfit. Always have to have that. Always have, I was pointing with my actual finger. Always have to have, where's my cursor? Always have to have the underneath with the poncho, otherwise it won't make sense. But like, you could take off the, I lost the socks again, but you could take off the socks. I lost them again. How did I lose them again? There's only so many layers. How do I keep losing them? Is it the layer I'm on? It's the layer I'm on. So, yeah. But you could lose the socks, you could lose the poncho, you could lose the poncho and the socks. Maybe even potentially lose the earrings. That could be another potential one. Trying to think of variations on this. I gotta figure out what the pattern's gonna be, though, as well. This is actually somewhat a decent concept sketch. I'm surprised at myself for making this sort of look good. And of course, I can't forget that, the hair. As well, like, the hair would also be a variation where you would have it, either... Hang on. Let me get... What layer is this? Let me put this on... Yes, let me put this on this layer. Like, it would be either hair... Hang on. Either be figures. Either be hair up, where we have the ponytail in the back, or it would be hair down, where it would be kind of like this a little bit. Like, very wavy, all over my shoulders. Like 2 variations. So that as well. Yeah. And then... Yeah, that's good. And the in terms of that would be like sort of the deal. I do actually have a widow's peak. As you can see in here, I do in fact have a little bit of widow's peak. It's not as big as I exaggerated here for the whole, you know, vampire effect, basically, but I do have one. It's right there. I also have a scar on my forehead, but like hardly anybody can see it anyways. You can like just barely make it out in this photo. But I've had that scar since I was a toddler. Walked into the corner of a room once. Like the jutting out corner of a room once. And that gave me a scar. I think I'm okay with this design. I could try different variations on it. I could maybe try a version with overalls? I don't know. Overalls aren't really my deal. Maybe a cloak style? I've been really set on the poncho the entire time, so I probably won't go with the cloak style. I'm definitely not making myself naked. That's not happening. We're not going naked. That's not happening. This. Third quarter NBA in the zone. Fun. Anywho, yeah, that's pretty much, that's the entirety of what I would wanted to spend today doing was, concept sketches for what I eventually want to be my next VTuber model. I'm still reeling over the fact that I just basically made a stupid 80s aerobic gear type of outfit here. And I do actually genuinely like it for me as a concept. Me the man, me the idea. For a concept for my VTuber model. I don't know. Like... Yeah, I kind of want to go with this. It's just funny enough that I kind of want to go with it. I'm not actually any sort of aerobic instructor at all. This is just specifically comfy wear, mostly. I mean, it's not as if tight things constricting my body are especially tight. That's why poncho and leg warmers, I suppose, but oh no, I like this. It's good. Alright. Yeah, I'm just trying to fill out time to like make it sort of almost 2 hours, because I hate when I hate how I keep going under 2 hours nowadays instead. Anywho, that's gonna be it for today's stream. I'm gonna try to come back tomorrow to start Sonic Generations. That'll be fun. We'll start Sonic Generations tomorrow probably. And then don't know when I'll be streaming next. That will happen at some point hopefully before a week has passed. But hopefully before 3 weeks have passed. That would be nice. But we'll see. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Okay, Sonic Generations, and I don't know what I'm doing after that. Yeah, Sonic Generations tomorrow, for sure. I'm going to make that a promise right now, tomorrow for sure. Okay. Bye.